The domestic economy blueprint, the largest economic migration of the decade, is happening in silence. While venture capital chases the next app, while corporations hemorrhage talent to retention crises, a different class of operator is doing something the market hasn't priced in yet. They're monetizing the home. Not as a side project, not as a supplement to a real career, as the career, as the asset, as the entire business model. And the reason Wall Street isn't talking about it is because it's being built by women who were told this space has no value. By the end of this video, you will understand why the home is not your fallback position, it is your unfair competitive advantage, and why the skill set you've been using to manage it is the exact infrastructure that Fortune 500 companies pay consultants six figures to teach their executives. Let's begin. Here's what's actually happening in the economy right now. The corporate model, the one that promised security in exchange for your time, your commute, your autonomy, is disintegrating. Not slowly, rapidly. The average employee tenure at a company is now under 4 years. Benefits are eroding. Remote work, which was supposed to liberate us, has instead created an expectation of constant availability. You are always online, never off the clock, perpetually accessible. And the women who left that system, whether by choice, by circumstance, by the arrival of children, are being told they opted out. That language is deliberate. Opting out implies you left something valuable. It implies loss. Here's the reframe. You didn't opt out. You repositioned. You moved from a depreciating asset, a job where your value is capped. Your compensation is negotiated by others. Your growth is contingent on approval, to an appreciating one. A home-based operation where you control the infrastructure, the clients, the pricing, the hours, the legacy. The women who are monetizing home administration work right now are not doing so because they lack ambition. They're doing it because they understand something the traditional workforce is only beginning to grasp. Proximity is power. Zero commute time is an economic weapon. And the trust you've built inside your community, the school network, the neighborhood, the local ecosystem, is a distribution channel that takes corporations millions of dollars to replicate. You already have what they're trying to buy. Let's define the category precisely, because language is infrastructure. Home administration work is not helping out. It is not errand running. It is the design and execution of operational systems that allow high net worth individuals, dual income households, or time-scarce professionals to function without cognitive overload. You are a domestic operations consultant. Your clients are not hiring you to do tasks. They are hiring you to think on their behalf, to hold the mental load, to architect their lives so they can focus on revenue generation, creative work, or rest. Let's be explicit about what this includes. Calendar orchestration, managing medical appointments, school schedules, extracurricular logistics, maintenance windows, travel planning. You are the air traffic controller of someone else's life. Vendor liaison, coordinating with contractors, cleaners, tutors, caterers, landscapers. You are the general contractor, but for human capital. Household inventory and procurement, managing pantry systems, subscription services, seasonal wardrobe rotation, gift procurement. You are the supply chain manager. Event design, coordinating dinners, children's parties, holiday hosting. You are the experience architect. And here's the critical insight. Every single one of these functions is a billable category in corporate consulting. When McKinsey does this for a company, they call it operations optimization. When you do it for a family, they call it helping out. That semantic gap is worth six figures. Now let's talk about why this model works economically, and why it's accelerating. First, the erosion of the village. The social structures that used to absorb domestic labor, extended family, neighborhood reciprocity, communal childcare, have collapsed. Urbanization, geographic mobility, and the two-income trap have atomized the family unit. People are isolated, overwhelmed, and increasingly willing to pay for coordination. Second, the professionalization of domesticity. The home is no longer just a home. It is a project, a curated ecosystem, a brand. People are investing in their domestic environments at unprecedented levels, not out of vanity, but out of necessity. The home is now the workplace, the school, the gym, the refuge. It has to perform, and performance requires management. Third, the invisible skill premium. The women entering this space are not unskilled. They are overcredentialed and undercompensated. Former project managers, teachers, HR professionals, event planners, women who left the workforce because the math childcare costs exceeded salary, or flexibility was non-negotiable, but who retained the entire skill set. You didn't lose your edge. You redirected it, and now you're deploying it in a market that desperately needs it, with zero overhead, zero commute, and total schedule sovereignty. Let me introduce you to a concept we call the sovereignty stack. Most people think about work in terms of tasks. You think about it in terms of layers of control. Layer 1. Time sovereignty. You decide when you work. Morning calls with clients while children are at school. Admin blocks during nap time. Evening planning sessions after dinner. The architecture is yours. Layer 2. Client sovereignty. You decide who you work with, High-maintenance clients are a luxury brand's worst nightmare. You can fire them. You can curate your roster. You can build your practice around people you respect, who respect you. Layer 3. Pricing sovereignty. You are not negotiating for a raise. You are setting your rate based on the value you provide, the complexity of the work, and the inconvenience premium of someone else not having to think. Layer 4. Geographic sovereignty. You are not limited to your city's job market. You can serve clients remotely, manage logistics via apps and scheduling tools, and operate across multiple households without ever leaving your zip code. This is not a side hustle. This is a sovereign enterprise, and the women who are building it are not waiting for permission. Now let's talk about the mechanism that makes this work: soft power architecture. The corporate world has spent the last decade trying to quantify empathy, emotional intelligence, and relational coordination. They've built entire HR departments around it. They've hired consultants. They've created frameworks, and they still can't replicate what you do instinctively. Because soft power, the ability to anticipate needs, manage personalities, de-escalate conflict, hold space, remember details, make people feel seen as, not a checklist. It is a relational technology, and it is the most scarce resource in the modern economy. AI can optimize a calendar. It cannot read a room. AI can send a reminder. It cannot sense when someone is overwhelmed and needs the meeting moved. AI can draft an email. It cannot write one that makes a client feel taken care of, not transacted with. You can, and that is why this model is not disruptible by technology. It is amplified by it. You use the tool scheduling apps, project management software, communication platforms, but the intelligence layer is you. The discernment, the judgment, the care. We call this analog intelligence in a digital economy, and it is the future of high-value service work. Let's talk about the infrastructure upgrade. If you are going to operate at this level, your environment must reflect it. Not for aesthetics, for cognitive performance. I use noise-canceling headphones every single day. Not because my home is loud, because the act of putting them on signals to my nervous system that the operator is online, that this is work time, that I am not available for interruption. I call them the sovereignty switch. When they go on, my children know. My partner knows, I know. The boundary is not negotiable, and that clarity, that energetic shift allows me to deliver the level of focus my clients are paying for. I also use a physical planner, not a digital one, analog. Because writing by hand engages a different part of the brain. It forces deliberation. It prevents the scroll. It creates a record that cannot be deleted by an app, update, or a cloud failure. I call it my analog database. And I keep it in a drawer, not on my desk. Because when the workday ends, it ends. I close the book. I close the drawer. I do not carry it with me. The mental load does not bleed into dinner, into bedtime, into rest. You wouldn't run a Fortune 500 company from a cluttered desk with inconsistent lighting and constant interruptions. Don't run your domestic enterprise that way either. Invest in your headquarters. Treat it like capital expenditure, because it is. Let's talk about the vision. The goal here is not to make money helping other people manage their homes while you neglect your own. The goal is to build a model that funds your sovereignty, strengthens your skill set, and creates optionality for your family. You are not just helping out, you are building equity. Equity in your reputation. Every client you serve well becomes a referral source. Equity in your expertise. Every system you design for someone else sharpens your ability to design for yourself. Equity in your network. Every household you enter expands your access to resources, opportunities, and cultural capital. And most importantly, you are building a model your children will watch. They will not remember that you had a corner office. They will remember that you built something from the room next to theirs, that you were present, that you were powerful, that you controlled your time, your income, and your identity. That is dynasty thinking. Here's what I want you to understand. The women who are monetizing home administration work are not doing so because they have no other options. They are doing it because they see what the market does not, that the home, when treated as an operational headquarters, is one of the most defensible, scalable, and sovereign business models available. You have zero overhead. You have infinite flexibility. You have built-in trust with your community. You have skills that are in demand and undersupplied. The only thing standing between you and a six-figure domestic enterprise is the belief that this work is worth what you know it's worth. So name your rate, curate your clients, build your systems, and stop calling it helping out. Call it what it is: strategy. Disclaimer: this content is for educational and informational purposes only and does not replace consultation with a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance or business. Tell us where you are building your empire from. See you in the next video.